A good look at Memorial Tower on the center of this campus. A beautiful campus at Louisiana State University, where tonight the Tigers try to snap this 5-game skid against the reeling Gators as well. They have lost 2 in a row. Something's going to give tonight. Maybe alongside former Army guard Chris Matola. Glad you could join us from the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. And Chris, really, the Gators shocking. Still at number 25 in the country, but they have seemed to have lost their shot here the last couple of games. Yeah, they've been inefficient on the offensive end, and a lot of their offense comes from their defense. They turn teams over, they score in transition. That's how they get their vibe offensively. When they can't do that, they become a high-volume three-point shooting team outside of Kayvon Allen, who's been a stud for them on that offensive end. You see Allen's numbers in the last 2 games, which were losses for Florida. The rest of the team, they've got to get some of those other guys going here tonight if they're not able to turn this LSU team over. This LSU club at 9-9, 1-6 in league play. Florida 14-5, 5-2 in conference play. LSU, they have fallen behind and had to really work themselves back into games. You're talking to Johnny Jones today, and he says, hopefully our guys understand the importance of getting off to a good start. As far as the starting lineup goes, you see Albert Robinson in the starting lineup tonight. Well, they play 2 bigs, does LSU. Robinson and then Dwop Reith. Florida smaller at that 4 position. Here's a look at LSU starting lineup with Blakeney, Mays, Patterson, Reith, and Robinson. Pass inside to Patterson. Good look from the outside from Skylar Mays. And LSU basically starts 2 point guards. Patterson, Mays on the pass. Both those guys have been terrific at taking care of the basketball. Johnny Jones has gone to those 2 guys in the starting lineup largely because of that. Leon misses from the outside. Mays won't go. Robinson had his hands on it for a moment. Hill back the other way. Leon again, deep 3. That one is nothing but the bottom of the net. It's a big shot. Florida, in their last 2 losses here, they are 8 from 43 from 3. Have not shot it well. And in large part because a lot of those shots have come against half-court defense. There, an early one in transition. Good shot from Leon. Still shocking to think that they went 0 for 17 against South Carolina. And a foul against the Gators' Kayvon Allen. Johnny Jones knows his club is in desperate need of a victory. That is an understatement. This is a team that has been reeling on the defensive side of things. They give up a ton of points, especially in conference play. 88 points a game through 7 league games. Well, it's fair to mention they lost Craig Victor right at the start of SEC play, and he did so much for them on the offensive end, but really on that defensive end was that second level, that guy in front of the rim for them. They're playing a lot more zone, 2-3 zone. Johnny Jones not really a zone guy, but gives him a chance to utilize the 2 bigs up front, Dwop Reith, and in this case, Albert Robinson. Robinson will swing it around the perimeter to Hill. Casey Hill looking for a little bit of room. Back outside to Robinson. He is bumped on the perimeter by Mays. Mike White now in his 2nd season has played a difficult schedule. Mike White today at shoot-around. That was not Mike White. Mike White, he already has taken off the yes, blue blazer. He was a little frisky at shoot-around today. Casey Hill off the backboard. He was getting on his guys. They just weren't locked in on defensively, communicating. Well, I think that's part of it. I think it's more broad with his team. Look, they're experiencing success here for the first time. I mean, they've got a number next to that name. They're a ranked team. People are talking about tournament. And this is a team that if you're not engaged first and foremost defensively, they derive a lot from that end. And if you're not engaged, you're going to struggle. And I think that's where they have struggled in these last 2 games against South Carolina and Vanderbilt. Stone misfires. Already from the perimeter, 1 of 3. inside of the big fella Robinson.
It's a tough matchup. I mean, those two guys up front, DeWalt Reith and Elbert Robinson, that is a heavy load for Florida to carry. And LSU doing a nice job pounding to those guys early.
Egbunu, strong move to the paint. He's fouled. There is Mike White. Changing up his defense a little bit here tonight as well. Not going to press as much.
You get back to the basics, Dave. You know, I think a lot of times if you press long term, your fundamentals in the half court can diminish. And I think they've gotten a little strung out. They've relied so much on turning teams over. They average 20 points off of turnovers, which is second in the SEC behind Kentucky. And I think he wants to get back to locking down, taking pride in your individual matchup, and stopping teams. It also, the other thing he said, it'll help their defensive rebounding. They have not been a good defensive rebounding team.
See the numbers on Egbunu. I think it's fair to say maybe from a point production standpoint, Florida might have expected a little bit more from John. We're going to say a foul against LSU. Blakeney whistled for that. I think Egbunu thought that was against him by his reaction. He was heading back the other way. He'll head to the bench, though, for a moment. Boy, Robinson had the three initially, thought about it, then took it, misfired. Now he gets it back in the lane. Boy, hangs in the air.
And that's why you wonder why they've become a volume three-point shooting team, because that's how good they can be at the basket. Robinson, even Kayvon Allen, you'd love him to attack the basket more than he does. That's after the shot, and then look at the athleticism, the length at the rim. I mean, that's how you attack the basket. And this is a Florida team, again, when you've got to fight through resistance. Driving the basketball takes effort. It takes fighting through resistance. But when you do that, you got the ability to score, and I think Florida's got to get to the foul line more than they do as well.
Epps checks in the game now for LSU. They replace a 7-1 Robinson with a 6'10 Epps. Loose basketball on the deck. Now it's a 5-on-4 situation. Here's Epps. Nice strong move off the window.
I understand Kayvon Allen diving after that ball, but it's almost false hustle because you end up getting burned on a 5-on-4 down back. He really didn't have a chance to get that.
Allen knocks home the three.
But he can do that. He has been so good. Did not make a basket against South Carolina. Came back against Vanderbilt, had 29 in that game.
Here's Reith. He'll hand it off to Blakeney. The fifth leading scorer in the conference goes left. Gets it to go down. Here's Hill, quickly back the other way.
He is so good. He is a jet off the bounce, and once he gets that first step.
Patterson, high arching three, a little bit short. First three-point attempt of the night for LSU. Here's Stone, the foul, a little too strong. Egbunu back on the floor. We'll kick it back out to Allen now. Around the perimeter to Robinson.
Nice.
Good ball movement.
Yeah, what an unselfish possession there. And how about Antonio Blakeney on the other end? There may be nobody better in the SEC at doing this. Once he gets to his spot, that floater is dynamite.
SEC Network Basketball is brought to you by Belk, the home of modern Southern style. Visit Belk.com today. Well, here at Baton Rouge at LSU, that man is a living legend for sure. Shaquille O'Neal, his jersey hangs in the rafters. Well, not his real jersey, but a replica of his jersey. And they're honoring him tonight, of course, in the Basketball Hall of Fame. They're giving out these hats, kind of fancy, kind of NASCAR-looking hats, though, aren't they, a little bit? But
people love free stuff.
Yeah, free stuff, whatever it is.
Free, they'll take it.
Oh, Versi, of course, he won an SEC championship here, 3 NCAA tournaments as well, under Dale Brown's leadership. But this LSU team, a long way to go in terms of getting to an SEC championship. They're just trying to fight through this 5-game losing streak right now, which leads me to the SEC standings right now. Yeah. Kentucky losing last night, kind of, I guess, does that give this conference, the rest of the league, maybe some hope that this isn't a one-team race?
Well, I would say that if they hadn't blown out South Carolina over the weekend. Right. You know, I still think they are really separated from the field. What I will say is this, though. You will not find 2 better defensive teams in America than Florida and South Carolina. Now, they obviously have to show up on the offensive end against good teams, but there's no question that you've got 3 teams in the tournament right now. Now, can Georgia make a push? That loss at Texas A&M didn't help their cause. And then is Arkansas good enough to sustain here?
Georgia, part of that group on the first 4 out right now by Joe Lunardi. And you just wonder, that loss at Texas A&M with the clock issues, will that come back and haunt Georgia when we get to March? Shot clock down to 1. Mays launches it off the backboard, and good hustle by LSU to keep it alive. Blakeney falls to the deck. Chiozza on the floor for Florida, along with Hill. And Robinson, who thought about the 3, tries to get it inside. That won't work. Right through the hands of Hayes. Hey, next Wednesday night on the SEC ESPN Network, it's another college hoops doubleheader for you. First at 7 Eastern, Alabama takes on Arkansas in Fayetteville. Then at 9, it's 23rd ranked Gamecocks right here in Baton Rouge to challenge these LSU Tigers. Both games, of course, streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Boy, South Carolina did a number on Auburn last night.
And they've got, for me, the SEC Player of the Year right now is Sindarius Thornwell. What an impact he's had.
Sampson's 3 off the mark. Yeah, he's at another level right now. I think a lot of people might look at Malik Monk in that group as well as Player of the Year, but I just, when you watch Thornwell play, it's hard not to walk out of the building and go, that guy's got a complete game.
Absolutely. Well, and for me, it's the universal impact. He's their best perimeter defender. He's their best offensive weapon. He's the guy late in games that they put the ball in his hands and go get us a bucket. And then it's in the numbers. I mean, look, South Carolina without him is a much, much different team than when he's on the floor. And it's just the universal impact he's had.
LSU has missed their last 5 shots. On the floor now for Florida, the freshman Eric Hester. Mike White told us we'd see him pick up some minutes here tonight. Leon buries it with the absence of Canyon Berry. Haven't talked about him, but sprained his ankle in practice on Monday and not going to play tonight. Not a serious injury. They hope to have him back this weekend, but going to sit this one out. Boy, nice strong drive to the basket by Skylar Mays, who has really elevated his game here in SEC play.
Those 2 guards, Patterson and Mays, have been terrific. And I think it's why Johnny Jones finally said, look, we got to have them on the floor together. 1st and 5th in assisted turnover in the SEC. Just having a great year in that backcourt.
Chiozza, only 22% from behind the arc. Got that one to go down. Hit nothing but net. And Florida has already hit 4 of 8 from behind the arc. LSU, meanwhile, 0 for 4. Shot clock down to 5. Here's Mays. Sampson. That won't go. Chiozza will push it.
Good job getting back, setting their defense by LSU.
Chiozza will try another 3, and that one is dead on.
Well, the way they've shot it, Florida, LSU saying we're going to sag, we're going to play zone and play a sagging man. And And Florida beating them over the top right now.
When we come back, we'll talk to that man, Antonio Blakeney, about how he gets it in the basket. It's up 10, but Antonio Blakeney of LSU having a great year, averaging almost 17 a game, 5th in the SEC. How does he do it? Well, our own Chris Patola and Antonio break it down in our AT&T Inside Access.
Here with Antonio Blakeney, one of the most explosive scorers in the SEC. Antonio, typically when guards put the ball on the floor to get it in their shot, the percentages go down. Yours have gone up. I'm going to play dummy defense, which is about as good as it gets for me. I want you to take us through your technique, your thought process as you get into that shot.
Okay. Well, I start off by just trying to get my defender off balance, so whether it's a jab step or any move. So if I jab him right and go left, as he's trying to catch up to me, I decide to pull up and just get right over top of him, because as I'm driving, he never knows when I'm going to stop and just pop.
Right.
You know,
right,
so he has to react to me.
You only know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another thing, sometimes you'll be getting a good, even against good defenders, this move works for me, because if he's just playing great D and he's cutting me off real hard, he never knows when I'm going to try to square my body up and just go over top of him. And I just kind of use my athleticism to jump over people and, you know, get in the room.
Yeah. I can't relate to the type of athlete he is, shooting 49% from the field in conference. If I guarded you, it'd be a lot higher.
Yeah.
Antonio Blakeney.
Well, that's how he does it. And you look at his numbers this year in SEC games, better overall than his overall numbers. And, I mean, without him, we saw him at Auburn last week on a bad ankle, and certainly played 30 minutes on a bad ankle and was a vital part of a comeback that almost saw them walk out of there with a win, with trailing by double figures.
Well, he's talented. He was a highly regarded recruit, and I think last year got lost in the shuffle a little bit early. You know, with Ben Simmons, obviously, Tim Quarterman, Keith Hornsby. He was their best offensive weapon by the end of last year, and I think has really built on that, worked hard over the summer. And when you combine what an athlete he is with that growing game, he's a talented player.
Still playing on a bad ankle. Not quite 100%. Knocked out of bounds. It'll still belong to Florida. 11:01 to go here in the first half. Gators up by 10. Florida shooting 53% overall, 55% from behind the arc. And that number will go up. I mean, everybody's getting in on the action. Kayvon Allen buries a three.
It's spot-up shots. 25% of Florida's shots on the year are spot-up shots. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they don't have that one guy who can create his own shot.
That foul will go against Eric Hester. Well, it's got to be a good sign for Mike White to see his club knocking down some of these shots after going 0 for 17 against South Carolina, which snapped a streak of 850 games with a three-pointer for Florida. Then they go 8 for 26 against Vanderbilt. And tonight they have hit 6 out of 10. And there's still 10.5 minutes to go in the first half. Boy, Mays finds a little seam in that defense. Left it short. Sampson, his little floater. That won't go, but follows his own miss.
It starts with penetration. You've got to keep the ball in front of you. But that's where they are terrific. And what a finish by Kavarius Hayes after the great find by Chiozza. And I like the attack quickly after the made basket.
Boy, Chiozza almost got the steal. Reith, pull-up jumper, no good. Rebound by Robinson. Boy, Gators with a little life tonight here on the road. Robinson, his three. Everything is dropping for Florida from the perimeter tonight.
And another spot-up shot, and a great time to take those threes is in transition. The defense is unsettled. A nice find, and guys are stepping in.
And again, LSU finds themselves in a hole. That has been the story for LSU of late. Robinson underneath. He lays it in over the rim.
Boy, you can carve out some space with that derriere.
Another three. Hester buries it. He is now 4 of 9 on the season Played just 10 games, averaging 5 minutes per game, getting action because Canyon Berry is injured with a bad ankle, and boy, everybody's feeling it now.
Over half of these shots have come in transition. Secondary break, the defense is unsettled, guys are spotting up, and Florida's been unselfish. Give them a lot of credit. The ball has seen both sides of the floor, and eyes are lighting up and the shooting become contagious for the Florida Gators.
Prior 2 games, 8 for 43 from behind the arc. Tonight they are 8 out of 12.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, as that man was telling us today, our defense, as is typically the case, our defense becomes better when our guys are hitting shots. And a lot of times we can be fragile ego-wise, and if we're not, guys aren't getting touches, guys aren't making shots, it affects our defense. Not tonight.
Florida is 7 for 7. 7 of their last 7 from the field. And in that 7 for 7 run, 6 have been three-point shots. Three-second violation. A turnover by LSU will give Florida a chance to build on this 17-point lead. But we've seen LSU fight through these deficits before.
Well, slow starts have certainly been something that they've battled. Nice pass.
Ekbunu.
Nice passing catch. Good offense. Nice seal there by Ekbunu and a great delivery.
Dump down to Robinson. He answers. Robinson having a nice offensive night. He has 6 points already, 3 out of 4 from the field. And an offensive foul on Hill.
This is good basketball, just a high-low, and look at the delivery, but it's more the catch. He keeps the defender on his rear end, does Ekbunu. Look at that. Skylar Mays tries to get over the top, can't do it. Nice passing catch, the way the game was intended.
Florida, until that offensive foul, had scored on 8 consecutive possessions.
Well, that's the area where LSU's got to step up. I mean, you know, I talked to Antonio Blakeney today. I said, how's morale with you guys? Where do you feel you are in your season? He said, look, we can make a run. Tennessee upsets Kentucky the other night. A season can turn around like that. But until they start guarding people, it's going to be tough.
First 3 of the night. Hit by Patterson. And another 3 for Florida. Robinson now 2 out of 3 from behind the arc. They're going to call a foul on Florida, and Mike White can't believe it.
The Weather Girls, it's not raining men, but it is certainly raining threes.
You did not.
Here in Baton Rouge. Oh, yes, I did.
Saturday, but here on a Wednesday night in Baton Rouge, it has been all Florida. 25th ranked team in the country, dominating LSU to this point. Speaking of dominating, these two teams have dominated college basketball for years. The Blue Bloods, look at the number of victories between those two teams. Tell you what, though, had a tough night last night.
Yeah, you know, both those teams are flawed, as Villanova is as well. The 3 teams that go down last night. Florida State goes down tonight. They're flawed. I still love that matchup because I still believe both those teams are Final Four teams. And I will say this about both. They've got to get more production from their interior, especially Kansas. You know, they're just not getting any scoring up front. I think it's affecting their defense on that end. But, man, the backcourts of both teams can score. They're athletic. They're explosive. Should be a fun one.
Or the SEC Big 12 Challenge all day on the ESPN networks. Reith trying to get it going. Dwop just 2 points. LSU shooting 43%. A traveling violation. We'll give it right back to the Gators. Hey, gymnastics takes over the SEC network every Friday night, and this week, number 16 Auburn takes on third-ranked Florida at 7 o'clock Eastern. This one's presented by Belk. Then at 8:30, it's number 5 Alabama and Arkansas from Barnhill Arena in Fayetteville. Friday Night Heights is also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. 5 Gators have hit a 3. Robinson with 2, Allen has 2, Leon has 2, Chioza has 2. 3-second violation against Florida.
And that's why a lot of those threes for Mike White's team have come early. They've come in transition. Florida, they can bog down against half-court defense. I mean, that was a good example. They haven't been great at executing. They've turned it over at a high rate. Haven't been as efficient as you need to be in that half court.
And here is some transition offense. Casey Hill, foul on the floor. Patterson will pick it up.
I'll tell you what, there are some guards in this league from end to end are jets. Casey Hill is certainly in that category.
By the way, Florida ties their season high for first half threes. They had 9 against Arkansas Little Rock as well. Egbunu hammered across the forearm, still got it to go, and now Florida's hit 10 of their last 10 shots from the field.
How about the seal inside? What a great under out of bounds. Good execution, good design. Egbunu off that inbounds pass just got his defender again on his back and finished through contact. I always say, Dave, playing in the post is about where you catch it and the angle you have. When you catch it with 2 feet right in front of the rim, it doesn't get much better than that.
Patterson, again, shot clock down to single digits. Reith, he'll line up a 3, no good, and the Gators collide down on the baseline. Leon and Robinson finally get back. And a hold underneath on Reith. Egbunu was cutting across the lane. That'll be his first.
Yeah, there's Duop Reith 3 on the other end. I mean, he's battling John Egbunu on this other end. John Egbunu has $1 million body, and I think at times has that 10-cent head that we often talk about. If he could ever put it all together, man, he's got all the tools. He certainly has the physical gifts. And he's played hard tonight. He has been really effective on that offensive end. If he could ever give them a consistent scorer down on that block, it's been so high turnover, low percentage. If he could ever be that consistent guy for them where they could throw it into him every once in a while, this Florida team would take a huge jump.
You know, free throws have been such an issue for him. I know it's been talked about throughout his career, 52% this year. Matter of fact, in SEC games coming in, he was just 8 for 21. 38% clip. A nice strong move by Wade Sims, the freshman from right here in Baton Rouge. How about that bounce pass? And boy, Egbunu was trying to bring down the rim but lost the handle.
Oh my word. I mean, this is, again, great execution. A nice pocket pass from Casey Hill, and then a good challenge. I'll give Blakeney a lot of credit. He came late, but the challenge was good enough to force the miss. That was a $1 million take and a 10-cent finish. That was almost a reckoning.
Here's Sampson at the free throw line. That foul on Justin Leon. His first. And a foul underneath. That will go against Patterson.
Well, we're seeing that ball screen there. Florida goes back to it. Same play where Agbunu got the missed dunk. And the help is coming over for LSU. You've got to do a better job on the ball, though.
So Hayes knocks down the first one. As we alluded to earlier, there is Canyon Barry, the team's second leading scorer. 12.5 a game. Not playing tonight. A graduate transfer. Now with a sprained ankle. They hope to have him back this weekend.
Well, a team that has struggled on that offensive end, you worry about losing your second leading scorer. But, man, some of these other guys have really stepped up here tonight. You know, Florida held a team meeting. They lose the 2 games in a row, and they held a team meeting on Monday. It was about a 2-hour meeting, and really one of those airing of grievances type meetings. And I think the consensus was we've got to get back to who we want to be defensively. We've got to get out of our own minds and start thinking about who we are as a team. And guys has started to become a little bit selfish on that offensive end. You became selfish defensively. They're a different team tonight, though.
Good rebound by Sims. Lost the handle. It'll belong to Florida. .451 to go in this first half. A half that has been dominated by Florida.
Well, they've taken the life out of LSU, and shooting will do that. I mean, teams making threes will do that to you. It's taken the life out of LSU. It's taken the life out of this building.
Going to call a foul on Hester. That'll be his second for the freshman out of Clearwater, Florida. 6'3". Coach White says likes his upside. 6'10" wingspan.
He called him a pit bull. And again, when you're looking for somebody to come in and make a defensive impact, you go to a guy like Hester, give him a chance. He's only played 4 minutes in this conference season.
Mays knocks home the first one. Mays coming off career high 22 in that loss to Arkansas. Had 6 assists in that game as well. Robinson, good ball fake. A little bit off the mark. Sampson with a good rebound. Excuse me. Blakeney in there. Dumps it inside. Sims.
Nice, good execution. And it starts with Wade Sims calling for the ball. Got the early post, and Blakeney found him.
Gioza, a little pull up. Hayes had it, lost it. Here's a run out. LSU with some numbers. Hayes will back it out. Blakeney. And a push by Reith. And that'll be the second on the big fella.
You want the ball, call for it. Wade Sims on the block, defender on his back. Nice touch over the top.
You make it sound pretty simple. Well, that's what LSU is trying to figure out in the huddle right now. How are we going to stop this Florida team in transition? The last couple of minutes, they've been able to do it. Matter of fact, Florida's last field goal came at the 6:36 mark. Look at our headlines. Tennessee, of course, pulled the big shocker last night. It was a great effort what Rick Barnes was able to get out of his club last night and what happened in Nashville. How about that?
Yeah, stunning. Stunning.
15-point deficit at home, and I think they're probably still shocked in Nashville.
Well, you turn that game on, and Arkansas was kind of bickering in their huddle, and you know, you thought it was over, and then all of a sudden, I mean, that's how quickly they can jump up on you. I'll say this about that Kentucky game too. I mean, look, they blow out South Carolina. They've got Kansas this weekend. There's no question that is a game that Kentucky probably was not ready to play.
The proverbial trap game.
No matter what John Calipari says. But I will say this too. Tennessee is going to be good, and they are a physical team. They play hard, and if you don't show up to play that team, you're going to lose, especially when you're playing in Knoxville. And they're well coached, by the way.
Reith sets the screen for Mays. Boy, Reith really hadn't been much of a factor here tonight at all. Sims, shot clock violation. Boy, Reith is out here 25 feet from the basket at 6'10".
Love to see him at least catch a few on the block, but that's part of the offense. Get those guys as facilitators up top.
Unu down the block. Little jump hook, won't go. Tapped around a couple of times. There's Tuop with the rebound. Blakeney. He's stuck on 2 points, 1 of 5 from the field.
Well, they've got size on him. They've put size on him all night. Devin Robinson with his length really bothered him.
There's some nice ball movement, and Sampson throws it down. Robinson buries another three. His third of the game and the first field goal for Florida in 4.5 minutes.
I understand that the scouting report might say late pressure on Devin Robinson, but after the way this first half has gone, you've got to adjust.
Gioza to Allen, fouled and count it. He'll head to the line.
Florida was shot out of a cannon. I mean, they were absolutely shot out of a cannon here tonight. And LSU has nothing for them. I mean, that's a 2-on-1, a great finish from Kayvon Allen. Look at him run the floor down the middle there. A good find and a good finish through contact. I mean, look, LSU's given up 88 points a game in conference. So this is not necessarily an outlier, this offensive explosion from Florida. But for a team that's 1-6 in conference for LSU, you don't see any fire. You don't see what Florida is after losing 2 in a row. And I think if you're Johnny Jones, you got to be concerned because there is no life on either end from this LSU team.
You might be going to the monitor to see who that foul was on. Landis Poole on the right, Mike Nance on your left. Hey, Saturday at 2 o'clock Eastern, right here on the SEC ESPN Network. It's the annual Razorback Invitational from the Randall Tyson Track Center in Fayetteville. It's one of the premier college indoor track and field events and tracks some of the top schools and athletes from around the country. As always, you can see it streaming live on the ESPN app and, of course, watch ESPN. So they're going to send Wade Sims to the free throw line. Sims, 65% foul shooter on the year.
Johnny Jones has gone to his bench to see if anybody will give him life. Sims at the line off that bench. Brian Bridgewater in. Brandon Jenkins in. Brandon Sampson in. All bench guys.
1:54 to go before halftime. Gators have knocked home 10 3-pointers here in the opening half. 10. The only time they've had double-figure 3-pointers was 16 against Arkansas Little Rock. Mays picks up his second. So Hayes back to the free throw line.
Well, they've done it tonight, Dave, without turning LSU over. LSU only 4 turnovers. And we talked about how Florida, they're averaging 20 points off of turnovers this year, second in the SEC behind Kentucky. And I think one of the concerns is they became so reliant on that, it made them less efficient in the half court offensively. And tonight they haven't pressed, they've locked in the half court, and their offense has benefited.
Bridgewater. Sampson. Jenkins has that one swatted out of there by Hayes. 25 blocks now. That's second best on the team.
Part of that two-headed monster inside. Good timing there by Hayes. Hayes and Igbunu, they'll rotate them at that center position.
And a foul on Bridgewater. That'll send Leon back to the free throw line. You know, this Florida team right now sitting at number 25 in the country, despite that 2-game losing streak. Part of the reason is you look at their RPI, it's number 11. They have 4 top 50 wins. 6 schools in the top 50 in RPI out of the Southeastern Conference.
Well, they played a hellacious schedule. They had a chance against Gonzaga. They played Duke well for about 30 minutes in that game. Florida State, the problem is they haven't been good in second halves. They have not defended well in the second half, and all 3 of those teams shot over 55% in the second half. But they have certainly challenged themselves in that non-conference.
You mentioned that second half, Chris. 12 straight games they've allowed more points in the second half than they did in the first half. And just last week against Vanderbilt, they allowed 27 first half points and 41 in the second half. And a traveling violation against Leon. Under a minute to play here in the first half. 55 points by the Gators here in the first 20 minutes. Actually, the first 19 minutes and change. That one goes down for Sims, who's given him some quality minutes.
Yes, he has. He's playing hard, and he's talking, and he's showing life. And good execution on their version of that side pick and roll.
How about another 3? Robinson is 4 out of 5, has 14 points. And Florida will take a timeout, and that is 11 threes. The Gators are now 11 out of 15 from behind the arc here in the first half. My goodness.
You've got to guard him. I mean, he is... Dave Neal just rattled off his numbers in the first half. Again, I go back to the scouting report. It may say late pressure on Devin Robinson, but when he comes out and he is a dead-eye shooter in this half, you have got to get up on him. He has 4 threes in a pickup game. If a guy does that, you're going to close in on him.
Okay, last year against LSU, I just looked down at my notes here. He was 4 of 5 behind the arc in Baton Rouge last year. So he's only 80% from behind the arc now in a game and a half against the Tigers.
Yeah, if my guy in a pickup game, he may not have looked like a shooter during warm-ups, but if a guy in a pickup game I'm guarding has made 3 threes, I'm going to guard him tighter. He now has 4 in this half.
To go along with 6 rebounds.
shows a 1-3-1 out of the timeout.
Jenkins lost the handle out of bounds with 0.4 seconds. That pretty much tells you the story for LSU here in the first half. He had a wide open dunk. Well, they say ball don't lie, numbers don't lie. Gators, 11 three-pointers in the first half, and they put up 58 points. Amazing. 58-33 our score after 20 minutes. Time to get you back to the studio with Peter Burns, Pat Bradley, and Tony Delk. They know something about shooting the rock. Good look at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. But tonight it's been a good home for the Florida Gators. 58 first half points as the 25th ranked Gators trying to break their two-game losing streak. Dave Neal back alongside my partner Chris Spatola. And Chris, sum up that first 20 minutes in a nutshell, if you could.
That was a good old-fashioned butt-whooping behind the woodshed. Now, look, the threes were raining. That'll take not only the life from your defense, it gave Florida life, I think. And this is a Florida team that they've lost 2 straight. They want to be a tournament team, and this is how you have to respond. A lot of threes in transition, which I think they've looked for early. They've shared the ball, and LSU's been a step late recovering on all of these. I mean, these are open looks and late responses from that LSU team. So look, this is not a good LSU defense, but it's also a Florida team that has really struggled to shoot the basketball. They've taken advantage of that LSU defense here tonight.
Robinson has been the biggest culprit, 4 of 5 from behind the arc. You also get a couple of threes from Leon. I mean, all told, 11 of 15 for the Gators. I mean, combined, the teams are 12 out of 24.
Yeah.
The problem is LSU's just 1 of 9. Now the question is, Mike White, can his defense lock down here in the second half, especially the first 4 minutes? And he talked to us today. That has been a real concern for his staff.
Well, you got that there. Teams are shooting 76%. And that top 12 opponents is the top 12 high major teams they've played. Add to that graphic, they have a 5-to-12 assist-to-turnover ratio. And it's amazing, Mike White telling us, look, we've tried simulating halftimes in practice where we'll take a break, take 3 minutes, watch film, everything we can to try to get our guys energized to start second halves.
Well, that's a good way to start. Get it inside to Egbunu, and he gets fouled. 3-point opportunity coming up.
They've had this all night. I mean, he's had good position and a good angle, and guys have found him. And when you look like that, finishing through contact, probably not a problem. Although I would not know.
And now you get an offensive rebound and another opportunity. And another 3. I mean, this has just been a clinic from Robinson. 5 of 6, 17 points in 16 minutes. And a reach-in foul on Robinson.
I mean, this is just being outworked. That's all that is. A free throw, there's no block out. And then a nice reversal of the basketball by Florida. Again, they've played unselfish, and they hit the guy that is absolutely a flamethrower here tonight. I mean, there's no life from LSU. There's nobody going to each other saying, hey, there's nothing from LSU right now.
That's short. Right back to Blakeney. Blakeney's a guy that's struggled tonight. 1 out of 6 from the field, just 2 points. Guy is averaging almost 17 a game, 5th in the conference. And Florida has done a nice job locking him down.
And he's limped a few times out there, and not to make an excuse, but you and I did the game against Auburn where he had turned his ankle prior to that, ended up playing against Auburn, played well, but was limping that entire game. And a few possessions here tonight where he's come down and hasn't looked right.
Reverse layup won't go for Mays, but still have an opportunity and a couple of free throws.
What a take here by Skylar Mays. Was at Findlay Prep last year. Really good high school program, nice use of his body. Of course, Mays, a Baton Rouge native, played at University High here in Baton Rouge, won a state championship in 2014, 2015. Going to be a really good player. I don't think Johnny Jones expected he'd have to use him as much as he has. But in conference, 26 assists and only 10 turnovers. He and Jalen Patterson done a great job of taking care of the basketball.
Leon inside. Egbunu. Chioza. He has a couple of threes.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, that's a good point. Allen. Chioza. Catch. Shoot. Off the mark. And that one's thrown out of bounds. It'll belong to Florida.
You know, it has surprised me all year about this LSU team defensively. I mean, they have good length, they have athletes, they have size up front. They should be better defensively than they are. I mean, look, they're giving up 88 points a game in conference. Their opponents are shooting 48% from the field. That's just not going to – that's how you become 1-7.
That's another three. Chioza, his third three. Remember, Chioza came in, he only had 10 threes on the season. That's short. Egbunu. There's one guy that's busted his backside tonight, Wade Sims.
If you're Johnny Jones, you've got to go in the direction of guys who are playing like that. Guys who are playing hard, with effort, a little animation on their face. I mean, Wade Sims has given them good minutes. You've got to go in the direction of guys like that.
Mike White wants a timeout. Didn't like the fact that his guys were out hustled for the loose ball, perhaps. But Florida up big on the road. Florida, the 25th ranked team in the country, up big in Baton Rouge. I guess they just needed to get out of Gainesville to maybe get that feeling of intensity.
Yeah.
Communication was a big issue for this team.
Well, and I like the timeout by Mike White. Like, we just threw up the graphic about how poorly they've played defensively in the first 4 minutes of second halves. And he, like you said, he didn't like the lack of hustle on that loose ball. So he's getting after his team. I mentioned it earlier. They held a team meeting on Monday. It was about 2 hours. And they let it out there. They said, look, you got to get out of your own stuff. You got to be about Florida. How can we be better? How can we be better on the defensive end?
Here's Allen. Off the front of the rim for Leon. Once again, no Canyon Berry for Florida, out with a sprained ankle. Hope to have him back this weekend when Florida travels to Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, Florida not even going to go back to Gainesville. They're just going to stay out on the road and head to Norman from here tomorrow. Allen, catch, shoot, left it short. Here's a little run out now for LSU. Patterson. Mays. No good. Florida might be falling in love with the three ball. Why not, though, the way they've been shooting it. Reverse layup, an easy one for Mays. Boy, Mike White jumps up off the bench.
Well, here's the psychology of a player, okay? Like, things have come easy tonight for Florida, and they've earned it. I mean, they've gone after LSU. But, you know, we're at a 30-point game here, and players have a way of shutting down. So the battle for Mike White is creating some adversity, getting his guys not to do that.
And Coach White spins around, looking for somebody off the bench.
That's one of the ways to do it.
Leon, maybe he saw that his number was coming up. Get one last shot in, right? You know, LSU's had this knack. Now, they're obviously in a huge hole here. Let's not get carried away, but they have had a knack for making a rally in second halves this year. They're going to say tie up, and the arrow will favor LSU, but that'll get us to a timeout. Florida up 25 on the road. Back in a moment. Florida still up 25, but they have struggled here to start the second half, which has been an issue for the Gators. Matter of fact, they have gone 2 of 7 from behind the arc to start the second half. And you see the numbers, first 4 minutes of the second half against their big opponents this year. And it's more than just an issue. I mean, it's in close ball games, it can be the difference in how you finish.
Yeah, well, and look, offense energizes your defense, and guys are making shots, and that may be a large part. And Mike White, he laughed today. He's got a surprisingly good sense of humor about it. Said, look, we've tried everything. We've simulated halftimes at our practices. We've talked about, you know, defense in different tones with our guys at halftime. We've tried everything. Hypnosis, I think, was on the list of things they've tried. Just to try to get our guys more engaged at the start of these halves.
I mean, LSU's up 8-3 to start the second half.
What's interesting about Florida, too, is they've been up in a lot of those halves. And so do guys relax? Do guys start thinking about their own stuff, their own stats, their own offense?
Leon with another 3.
Wow.
Patterson. Here's Reith.
He's been largely silent tonight.
2 points and 1 rebound for Reith, who came in averaging 14 points and 6 boards. Robinson right down the lane. He is fouled. Count the basket.
I'll tell you what, when his head is right, he has it all, man. I mean, this is a pro. Look at this move. Right to the basket. You know, he has battled maturity, or immaturity, I should say. And I think he's at a point in his career where he knows what right looks like. He's just had a trouble correcting at times, getting himself out of whatever funk he's in. I think he's starting to become that guy. The one problem he's also had offensively, Dave, is he at times can struggle to create his own shot. There, he had no problems.
You know, he had 12 points against Vanderbilt, but that was his first double-figure scoring game in 5.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, like, you look at him here tonight, like, how does that happen? And it's like you said, sometimes he gets in his own way.
Yeah. Well, and he does. I mean, he's going to have to keep working. He does struggle to create his own shot at times, and that's one of the things Florida battles. You know, they got small guards who, when they get in the paint, they can sometimes get swallowed up. They don't really have a post guy that they can throw it to, and so they have trouble at times getting one guy to create a shot. Not tonight, though.
How about Casey Hill? All 6'1", 175 pounds, right to the rack. It is back up to a 33-point game. Here's Hill again. Hangs in the air, won't go, tapped around, but Robinson keeps it alive. There's a takeaway. Mays in the open floor. He's fouled, and that'll be the 3rd on the youngster Hester.
Skylar Mays, again, only a freshman. And it's just a bad foul, but a good finish there by Skylar Mays. Certainly don't need that foul.
No. There's Bunu. 9 points, 4 rebounds tonight. Robinson with 20 points to lead everybody. Had a career high 21 against Arkansas Little Rock.
Wow. Tell you what, it starts with the pass. Another great post feed. And once he gets to that left shoulder, he has gotten so much better, has Egbunu, on that block. Look at this pass. Just a bullet inside, good catch, and then once he gets to that right hand over that left shoulder, he has become much more efficient.
Last year, these two teams in this building played a 96-91 game. LSU won that contest.
Well, one of these teams will be
I was going to say, it's a real good chance that Florida's going to hit the 90-point mark. Turnover. Sims threw it away. 3-on-2 run out. Hill just doesn't want to shoot the three. Hill 18% from behind the arc, but Allen not afraid. Mays. Going to count that basket. Jenkins elevates. Yes, they're going to count it. Boy, Blakeney and Reith, your two big guns, they came in between the two of them averaging a combined 30 points.
Well, you start with Florida's defense. I thought the game plan, Mike White put length on Antonio Blakeney, made life tough for him, made it tough to catch, denied him the ball. And then Duop Reith's kind of been on an island. I don't know if it's the physicality of those bigs of Florida or what it is, but he has yet to, I mean, maybe a handful of times has he caught it in the paint.
Hill. Out ahead to Sampson. That one's poked away by Chiozza. Off to Hill.
Oh.
Brown wanted a double dribble. Boy, this is a lot like Church League ball right now. The Reith has had a tough night. 6'10" junior, transferred in from Lee College, junior college.
He's been one of the biggest surprises this year in the SEC, and I don't know if he's not feeling what he just doesn't have the life. I mean, you and I have done a few of their games. He doesn't have the life, and maybe this game is just beating it out of him tonight, but he just doesn't seem the same.
He's usually very active and animated, and he has just not been the guy that we have normally seen. But a 30-point game will usually do that to you, right? And a foul on the floor against LSU. 11:52 to go in this one. It has been all Florida since we started. Back in a moment. Florida up 30 points on the road at LSU. And part of the reason is they're just kind of outworking LSU. Let's go inside the play.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a number of times here tonight. You'll see two Florida guys on this offensive glass. Freeze it right there. You got Devin Robinson right here and Justin Leon. And they're just going to attack. Nobody blocks them out. Nobody grabs the rebound. And Robinson just sneaks right in there. And that's just Florida outworking LSU. And it has gone on all night. And we could talk about the threes. We could talk, but it starts with effort. And that has been the root of LSU's struggles this year on that defensive end.
Yeah, Florida's plus 10 in the rebounding department. They've only out-rebounded 7 of 19 opponents this year. They out-rebounded Vandy by 2. It's the first time all year that Florida had out-rebounded an SEC opponent. $11:52 to go in this one. Robinson. And a foul underneath on Robinson. Hey, next Wednesday night, right here on the SEC ESPN Network. It's another college hoops doubleheader for you. First at 7 o'clock Eastern, Alabama takes on Arkansas from Fayetteville. Then at 9, 23rd ranked Gamecocks are right here in Baton Rouge to challenge these LSU Tigers. Catch those games streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. I'd say South Carolina shot the three ball pretty well last night as they dismantled Auburn at home. Chioza. Pass. Allen. Got it to go.
That's good offense. We mentioned at the top, 25% of Florida's shots are on spot ups. And a lot of it is those guards getting in the paint and pitching back out just like that.
15 threes tonight for Florida, the most they've had in an SEC road game since 2013 when they had 15 at Auburn. They're one off their season high, 16 against Arkansas Little Rock. There is Skylar Mays knocking that one home. Egbunu. Up and under on Robinson. Or excuse me, Hayes.
If you lay behind him, you allow him to catch it on the block. Hayes and Egbunu are good enough to score.
Egbunu about to check in. Hayes out in the open floor. Chioza lays it up for the throwdown. Oh my! Robinson elevates and rattles the rim. My goodness. Here's another run-out opportunity. Robinson again. The backboard hadn't quit shaking from the last dunk. LSU wants a timeout. And this is just getting ugly.
It's one to put on your reel right there. My word. That's an exchange for the highlight reel for Devin Robinson.
Robinson with a career-high 24 tonight. He also has 8 rebounds, a couple of assists. He scored 24 points in 25 minutes. Time for us to take a look at tonight's Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate. I think it's pretty easy to figure this one out.
Right on cue from Allstate. I mean, look, this is just easy. Guys not even really running back from LSU, and a nice delivery there. And as we've said all night, Robinson is long, he's tall, and what a catch at the top.
It's all career highs for Devin Robinson. Those 24 points on 9 field goals and 5 threes. Another steal. Here's Hill. Reith. Whop Reith. It's his second basket and his first field goal. Actually, his first basket. Has a couple of free throws today. Total of 4 points. Nice shot from Sims.
He's been a bright spot here today. He and Skylar Mays.
Or Hill should have taken the shot.
Yeah, he had a layup. And Mike White's telling him that. Just trying to be a little too unselfish.
Florida tonight, by the way, and we shouldn't overlook this because they've really struggled in the dime department, if you will, the helpers all season long. They're 13th in the conference, averaging just 12 assists per game. Tonight, the Gators have 21 assists. Patterson.
Well, that's where a lot of people, you look at the box score the next day and say, oh, well, they beat up on a 1-7 LSU team. Florida took this game. I mean, they took the life out of LSU early, and they look like a team that's lost 2 in a row, that's had some tough practices, had a team meeting on Monday, and they came out ready to play. Obviously, making shots helps.
Well, that'll get us to a timeout. Gators looking good. Devin Robinson looked really good. Career high, 24. Boy, West Virginia played so well last night. They looked, I tell you what, that's one team. I know they're ranked 18th in the country, but that is one team you wouldn't want to draw in postseason play. I know that.
Yeah, they're interesting for me because I saw West Virginia a lot when I was at Duke, and they're an interesting team to scout and prepare for. I think ultimately, and the narrative after last night's game against Kansas, as we take a look at the history of this challenge, the narrative last night is, well, West Virginia didn't have to force turnovers. I think in large part, that is still who West Virginia is. They are scoring the ball better. The matchup that's interesting, this Florida-Oklahoma game, I think is very interesting. I think that Oklahoma team, of all those teams in the Big 12, has the highest upside. Lon Kruger doing with a young team outside of Jordan Woodard, doing a lot like he did with Buddy Hield and his group, where he's allowing them freedom offensively, allowing them to grow, to make some mistakes. They struggled at one point, lost 7 in a row a few weeks ago. 4 of those games, Woodard was out. He is back, and they've lost 2 straight, but I still think that Oklahoma team can make a run here down the stretch.
Ole Miss gets the luxury of hosting 5th-ranked Baylor.
Yeah. And another team people aren't talking about, Texas Tech, who lost to Baylor at Baylor by 4 tonight. They're old, they take care of the ball, they're very good defensively.
And that's just typifies the evening for Florida, by the way. Hester, who knocks down his 2nd 3 of the game. This is just his 11th appearance in a contest for the Gators this year. Egbunu thought he had the block. Instead, he picks up the foul. Gymnastics takes over the SEC Network every Friday night. And this week, number 16 Auburn takes on 3rd-ranked Florida. 7 o'clock Eastern. This one presented by Belk. Then at 8:30, how about 5th-ranked Alabama and Arkansas from Barnhill Arena in Fayetteville. Friday Night Heights. It's also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. So Reith, 58% at the line. Young man who grew up playing soccer and Australian rules football, but hit a growth spurt. And somebody said, hey, you might want to think about basketball. And here he is. And how about Hester? Are you kidding me? This young man had 3 threes all year. He has 3 tonight.
He's only played 4 minutes in conference. You know what, though? I love kids who, when they get their shot, they come in and they make an impact. And he's getting his shot here tonight.
That is the 2nd 3 of the game for LSU. 2 out of 14 as a team. On the other side, Florida 17 for 29. 6 minutes to play in this one. Can Chioza do it again? Not this time. And a blocking foul against the Gators. Well, you look at the teams that Joe Lunardi has right now in the field. Arkansas, the 4th team. Georgia in that group of the first 4 out right now.
Well, it was a tough week weekend for the conference. You know, Florida goes down, their second loss in a row to Vanderbilt. South Carolina gets blown out. You know, if that game, you feel better about the SEC if South Carolina makes that game close. At Rupp, they get blown out. Georgia losing to although Texas A&M won tonight, but a bad Texas A&M team. You know, one of the things I love about this SEC Big 12 Challenge, and the coaches may not like it. In fact, I'm pretty certain they probably don't, but I love that it's at this time of year. When football's over, all the eyes are on college basketball.
Well, Florida just tied the school record for threes, and Hester,
what took them so long,
is 4 out of 4. Eric Hester out of Clearwater, Florida, a true freshman, was only 5 out of 10 from the field this entire season, is 4 out of 4 from behind the arc, and he's tied the school record on that three.
Yeah, he's got a nice release. And when we talked to Mike White about him today, all he talked about was his defense. Just want him to come in, be a pit bull, make an impact. I think Hester's making a plea for some more shots in the offense.
96 points on the board.
And that's without their second leading scorer in Canyon Berry.
And you know he is not happy. He's not a part of this right now.
I'm upset I'm not a part of it. Everything's going in. I'll tell you what, though, after this game, I'm taking the jacket off. I'm rolling up the sleeves.
I know, let's go shoot.
Is there anything left out there?
96 points. LSU gave up 110 to Wake Forest. They gave up 96 to Vanderbilt. Count the basket there. And it's just been an offensive, one of those nights offensively for Florida. You don't have these very often in your career. As Hayes tries to complete the three-point play, and he will do it. But to finish that thought, they gave up 110 to Wake, 96 to Vanderbilt in back-to-back games. They also gave up 95 to Mississippi State, 99 to Arkansas in their last game, and that's where Florida sits right now.
That's what I say. Florida has earned this, but LSU, they've been willing participants as well. Not been a whole lot of resistance.
Chioza, Hayes. Who will have the record-setting three? Will they get it tonight? The 18 they had prior to tonight came against Robert Morris in 1996. That foul will take us to break. 3:47 to play. Well, Florida with a chance to hit the century mark with free throws coming up. They lead here on the road, 99-61. Athletic Director Joe Oliva in the house tonight, and you know there are probably a lot of questions coming his way.
And there should be. I mean, let's be honest. There should be. Last season, I thought that team underachieved. They had the #1 pick in the draft and didn't make the NCAA tournament. And this has not been a good year. And you know, there is talent here. Look, if we went to the playground and you lined up these SEC teams, I guarantee you SEC outside of, or rather LSU outside of Kentucky, but we would be one of those teams you pick to win in a pickup game. And for whatever reason, the last 2 years, they have not been able to put it together. So, you know, that's just the way the world is. There is talent on that roster. There just is.
just had to hire himself a football coach. I wonder what the future holds in the basketball world. And, you know, you hate it, you know, for a guy like Johnny Jones, 5th year here, known him forever. Of course, played his basketball here for Dale Brown, who's in attendance tonight, as he is most nights when LSU plays. And he's such a wonderful man, and you feel for him. I mean, you really do. Yeah. But in this day and age, and these fans know it, and the boosters know it, you're paid a lot of money to win basketball games, and there is Coach Brown.
Well, there's tradition here, and Johnny Jones is a big part of that tradition as a player. But, you know, like we said, if this was an outlier this game, then it's a different story. But this has been, especially defensively, this has been an issue all year. It was an issue last year. And there's enough talent on both rosters that this team should be in the tournament. Certainly should not be 1-7 in the league.
LSU has shot 41% from the floor tonight, and Florida has shot 56%. But it's those 18 three-pointers, which has tied a school record. Epps, he buries the jumper. Epps has only played 12 minutes tonight, but he's picked up some fouls, which has limited his contributions on the floor. He's playing with 4 fouls. That hadn't helped LSU's cause any. Stone to Skylar Rimmer. You think of all the great three-point shooting teams that Florida has had over the years, and you certainly don't look at this team as a great three-point shooting team. And they're 1 3-point shot away from setting the record.
Yeah, right. You're right.
They were 8 for 43 in their prior 2 games coming into this one.
No, I know. I'm aware.
And they missed 17. They were 0 for 17 a week ago.
Yeah. It became contagious. You know, this is a program that won back-to-back national titles. They break the three-point shooting record here tonight.
Here's Gack. He lost it. Reith keeps it alive to Sims. Mays will fire from the corner, no good. And a nice job by Reith. Reith in double figures with 13. Most of them have come here in the last 5 or 6 minutes, though. It's a 7-0 run by LSU. Hester will try it again. Got it. There's your school record. How about the true freshman? 5 out of 5 from behind the arc, and he just set the school record. 19 threes.
What that will be a bar bet at some point. Who hit the shot to set the single game three-point shooting record?
Hester came in. Remember this. He'd only had 5 field goals, 5 made field goals this entire season. He comes into tonight and hits all 5 of his three-point shots. One minute to play in this one. If I'm Hester, I don't want to take another shot. I don't want to ruin my line, right? Rimmer with that one to go down 105-70. I mean, Hester, by the way, let's not overlook the fact that he has 15 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists on the night off the bench.
He's made the most of his audition. I give him a lot of credit.
Hey, tonight at 11 on the SEC ESPN network right here. Do not change the channel because our analysts have a lot to talk about as they break this one down and so much more. We'll cover all the SEC news of the day on SEC Now. All coming up next. Well, the Gators are going to head from here and go to Norman, Oklahoma. They'll leave tomorrow, and that'll make the trip a little bit easier after tonight's 105-point performance. Meanwhile, this LSU team will try to make their way to Lubbock, and that will not be a fun trip the way this one has turned out for LSU. It's the second most threes in an SEC game ever. I said double look at that. Ever. The record was 20 by Kentucky against this LSU team back in 1995. Hester will head to the free throw line. The second most threes in an SEC game in history. One off the Kentucky record from 1995. This is a Florida team that came in 9th in the conference shooting the threes at 33%. Here's what Florida has up ahead. Oklahoma on Saturday. Then it's the first of two with Kentucky. Now the Gators drew the short stick because they get Kentucky twice. They get South Carolina twice.
That's the problem with the unbalanced schedules as you run into that. And for LSU, I mean, they're about to enter the tough part of their schedule. They're going to be 1-7 after this. And they got the toughest part coming up.
They're at Texas Tech, then they get South Carolina, then they get Texas A&M, then they're at Kentucky, they host Arkansas, at Ole Miss, at Alabama, and this one is in the books. It is a record-setting night for the Florida Gators. They blow out LSU 106-71, snap their two-game mini slide. Their first win here in Baton Rouge since 2013. It is a record-setting performance from behind the arc. 19 three-pointers. Our final score once again, 106-71. That'll do it from here. Time now for SEC Now. So long from Baton Rouge.